Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for being here. So today I'm using some metallic colours. I've got a gold, a silver, a copper, a bronze, and I'm also using Pebio's iridescent blue-green. So I'm going to use a black base. This is Lamp Black by Amsterdam. So I'll get the base colour down and then I'll talk about what I'm going to do. Okay, so today I'm using just 2 of my embroidery hoops and I'm going to place those directly in the centre of this piece. So I've got a larger hoop and then a medium-sized hoop that I'll put inside of the larger hoop. And then what I want to do is I want to use my colours and I want to create a design in the middle bit and then a design in the outer hoop. And then once I've done that, I'm going to layer my colours around the edge and do a swipe. But this time, this is about creating some details, some lacing and some lines. So a combination of those elements to create a really interesting look. I can't wait for you to see this. And I guarantee you won't want to miss how I create the middle bit with the hoops because the details are amazing. You'll notice that I'm not actually pouring the paint directly onto the canvas. I'm trying to minimize the volume of paint that I'm using because remember, when you lift those hoops up, you don't want the paint to spread across the canvas. I'm also adding a little bit of white. This is titanium white and it's mixed with Australian Floetrol. Again, I'm not putting too much of this in because what I want to do is create a really silky, soft effect. So by just adding a little bit, and you'll see what I mean in a moment when I swipe, I can create some really gorgeous details within this middle section. So I'm just using a piece of toilet paper that I folded in half. I'm gently placing the paper onto the paint so it connects to the paper. And then I'm just slowly moving that paper around in a circular motion. This creates the movement in a circular motion that I'm trying to create. And I'm just moving it all the way around the circle, moving it slightly into the center, swiping round, and then I'll lift the paper up and I'll show you the detail. So now in this outer section, I'm going to layer the iridescent green-blue first, and then the other colours on top. Again, just note that I'm not adding lots and lots of paint into these sections. A little bit of paint does go a long way, especially when you're swiping. And I'm adding all different colours into this section too, so I need to judge how much paint to use. You'll see that I'm using my wooden stick just to drip the paint around the circle, adding that colour proportionately around the circle itself. by adding a little bit of paint from all those colours, so the silver, the bronze, the turquoise, the gold, and then adding my white that's mixed with Australian Floetrol, and then swiping around that edge will create some gorgeous lacing. I'm going to just do half this section first, and I'll do a close-up just so you can see the process. But you'll see how these colours can infuse together and create some gorgeous details. So again, I'm just using toilet paper. I'm slowly sliding the toilet paper on the surface of the paint in a circular motion. And you can see some of those gorgeous details that are already forming. I'm going to do this again for the other half. And remember, when you place your toilet paper or whatever swiping tool you're using, just gently allow it to rest on the surface of the paint. You don't need to apply too much pressure, and you can help it glide across the surface. Wow, I just love some of these details. Let me show you a quick close-up before we continue this process. And you can see how those colours have infused and popped through using that lacing. There's a swirl in the middle, and then there's the lacing and the detail on the outer circle. Okay, so I'm really happy with this. I'm going to remove the rings, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my paints and I'm going to layer them on the outside of the circle and do some swiping. I'm going to take my gold first and just slowly pour the gold around the circle. But what I want to do is, because I want to create a really kind of depth to this, like a 3D look, I'm going to try and leave a little black line around the full circle. So when it dries, it almost gives that effect of like a dip in the painting. So let's try and do that. But let me layer the gold, and then I'm going to take my blue-green, my iridescent blue-green, it's a turquoise colour, and layer that also on top. And then what we'll do is we'll do some swiping. So you may have already seen a number of the creations that I've done using this technique, but for those of you that are seeing this for the first time, I'm swiping with toilet paper. I'm allowing the toilet paper to rest on the paint, and then I slowly pull the toilet paper in one direction and it glides across that surface. Now I'm using a certain width, but what you'll see shortly is I reduce the width of the toilet paper in half again. I do that because I want to create depth to this piece itself. So if you use different width when you swipe, you'll be able to create that depth, that 3D look and that movement when you're doing your swiping technique. So I'm just taking my time and I'm going round the circle, section by section, swiping with the same width. Once I've done that, that's when I will reduce the width of the paper towel or the toilet paper to add that further depth to this piece. Now remember, you know I'm a big fan of mindfulness. I'm a big fan of allowing yourself this time just to paint and create and be in the moment of now. So never forget to allow yourself to just enjoy the process that you're in. Don't worry about that end result. Just enjoy the process step by step and have fun, because that's probably why you're painting in the first place. So take your time to swipe, really feel the here and now, feel that paper towel touch the paint and glide across the paint. So you can see here that I've just reduced the width of the toilet paper, I've halved it, and I'm just going round all those sections now, around the circle, section by section, adding in some smaller swipes. That's what's creating that depth to this piece. Okay, I'm really happy with this, guys, so I'm going to take you in for a close-up of the wet version. You can see that swirl in the centre, followed by the lacing in the outer circle, and then the swipes that we've created using that gold and that turquoise colour. But some of those details are so gorgeous, I hope I can do it justice and capture it on camera for you. But you can see how those colours have really infused together to create such a really interesting piece, an interesting depth to this creation. What I'll do is I'll let this dry and then I'll take you in for a dry close-up. So here's the dry version. So it's hung on my wall just so I can show you the full effect. I'm really happy with how this dried. I love the details and I've fallen in love with this colour palette. By adding that turquoise colour, really makes those metallic colours come together and pop throughout this piece. I'll leave you with some of the detail, but let me just say a big thank you to all of you for your support. I really appreciate all your comments, all the shares that you give me, so thank you again. I really hope you have a great week ahead, and I hope to see you again in the next video.